For the 3rd through 6th grade assignment for this week, which is the week of April 13th through April 17th, you will be required to turn in one photo of one origami something that you've made. It can be one of the example videos that I'm showing in this same playlist. So it can be a Scotty dog, or it can be a bird, not a bird, a fish, one or the other. Or if you want to search on YouTube other types of origami things, or if you already know how to create something out of origami, you can make that just as easily. Take a photo of it and send it to my email. The other two videos that I show in this same playlist for origami are just there for examples if you want to use them. So again, your assignment is to create something, anything, out of origami. Take a photo of it and send it to me. Please don't forget to put your name, first and last, and your teacher's name in the email when you send it to me. It makes things so much easier for me and the rest of your specials teachers. If you need to know how to fold a rectangular piece of paper into a square, keep watching this same video. Keep watching this same video, and I'll show you how to do that right now. First step for origami is make sure you don't have paper that is too thick. The kind of paper you want to use is like a notebook paper or printer paper, or even thinner would be better. You want it to be thinner because when you're making a bunch of folds, to get those folds really nice and crisp, you want the paper to be thin. So construction paper might be a little bit too thick until you have some practice. Once you've got practice, you could probably use construction paper, but for now, let's use thinner paper. The first step for any origami is the paper has to be a square. Using a rectangle just won't work. So here is how you make your rectangle into a square. You take this corner, and we have to bring it down here. So we're going to try and get this edge to fold over and line up with this edge. So this corner is going to become a triangle. So I'm going to fold it over, making sure that this edge is lining up with this edge, and that this corner is nice and pointy. So to this edge, lining it up here. See, like this, it would be square right here, but we need it to be pointy. So I have to adjust to line it up with the edge of the paper, and really make sure that this corner right here is pointy and not a square. And then line this up nicely. It really doesn't have to be perfectly perfect because this is the first time you're doing it, and it'll get easier the more practice you have. Then you want to slide it out, double check. See, I'm not even, my paper's hanging off a little bit there, but that's okay. Practice makes perfect. First time does not make perfect. Then, once we have it like this, you really want to make sure that your creases are nice and flat. A trick is using the edge of your nail, this flat part of your nail, and to like run your nail across it to help smush it. Then we take a pair of scissors, and I'll show you how to do this with scissors and without scissors in case you don't have any scissors. Take a pair of scissors and just cut right along this line, and that will give you a square. And now we have pretty close to perfect square. It's a nice square. So if you don't have scissors, what you can do is do your fold the same way, where we bring this edge and we try and make it match up with this long edge, making sure that the corner is nice and pointy. Then, if you don't have scissors, this is a folding technique that you can use to tear in a straight line. So you want to fold this back so it's in line with the edge. So I'm trying to get this to line up with that edge right there. And we want it to be pretty good. And you see how I'm using my nail, the back of my nail, to run along this crease. Then I'm going to do the same thing, but I'm going to flip it over. So I'm going to flip this over along the same crease and use my nail again to really smush it. So what we're doing is every time we fold it back and forth, we're weakening the paper. Paper is as strong as it needs to be, but every time we fold it, it makes it a little bit weaker and a little bit weaker on that spot. So by folding it a whole bunch of times back and forth, it makes it weak. So once you do this a bunch of times, then when you try to tear it, it'll tear a lot easier in a straight line. And you can kind of feel as you're folding it how it's getting weaker. Okay, so now, I feel like I've done it a bunch of times. I'm going to take this, and I'm going to try and make this end go high, and then pull it apart. See, and it's still not perfect, but that's fine. We're tearing, so we're not going to be able to make it perfect, but it gets the job done. And when you're doing origami, when you're first getting it down, we are not aiming for perfection. We're just aiming for just trying to get it done. Okay, so now we have our squares. So now we have to do the actual folding for the origami.